And we're live. Welcome, everyone, to the first episode of the Echelon Files. With me today, I have Direwolf, an anti-SJW YouTuber and political and social commentator. How are you?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm all right. So, to get to the first topic, how did you get into making this type of content? Because for most people, from what I've seen, it's usually they've been exposed to SJWs or progressives in some form, and they just get pissed and just get in front of a camera. So,
well, yeah. So I've when I went through school, I was educated in the social justice. Like they actually taught you social justice in my college, and I was frustrated by that. And I argued with my instructors every single day. I got pretty good at it because I was the only conservative student, I think, in any of my classes. So I'm pretty used to arguing the points. But the reason why I got in, I've been watching anti-social justice, anti-feminist content for a long time. People like Bering and Sargon and Undoomed. And though I like the content, I felt like that there's some things that I wanted to say, but I never, it took till the election for me to kind of get the push I needed to start calling out a lot of the bullshit and the lies that were being put out there. I feel like one reason why social justice seems like they're always winning is because the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and there's more of their voices being put out there because they spend less time actually doing a job and going in and take care of their own life and actually being productive. They spend a lot of their time trying to put out their political message. So I thought, okay, if I can help put out a conservative voice that is that as opposed to the insanity that is social justice and third wave feminism, then maybe I can help this quote unquote culture war.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way because I come from a sort of classical liberal stance on this more than more conservative, and I started watching things like you said, Undoomed, Sargon, Bering, the Satirician. And I was just like, this is nuts. This is absolutely insane. It's like you are making no logical arguments. Like I was always taught that if I say something, I should be able to back it up.
Exactly, with facts.
Yes.
So yeah, I think you'd find that classical liberal and center right or conservatives have a lot in common. We're not so far apart as, say, social justice and the rest of the world, or white supremacists and the rest of the world. So we actually are. So like Bering and Sargon are on the left as well. They're classical liberals, as far as I understand. But I have so much more in common with what they believe than I would say Christy Winters.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, Christy Winters is a character. And it's just the the election for me was, again, like you, a big thing for me because I didn't hate Donald Trump and I really didn't like either one of them. I thought they were both shit.
Yes, they were.
And when I heard the email things and the grab the pussy comment from each of them, I was like, I realize what this is. This is not an election in the traditional sense. This isn't like Obama and Romney or Reagan and I forget who he ran against. It's a spectacle. It's a show. It's an outrage election. It's an outrage election where whoever can get the most gasp and get the most people saying deplatform them wins. And in this case, it was Donald Trump. He went out. He said the most outrageous things about that weren't wrong, but were politically incorrect, like Mexicans, women, Megyn Kelly's bleeding from her vagina. He said all these things because he knew they would get attention.
Yeah,
he knew he'd get him coverage, which I think was smart.
Yeah, he is not a great candidate. Very embarrassing, I think, to have him as our president, but he's still way better than Hillary, I guess.
Yeah.
So, well, not I guess, I know he's better than Hillary. One reason why I could never vote for her and why I disliked her so much is being a military guy. What she contributed to in Benghazi was terrible. the leaving men on the field, abandoning them when you have time to help them, is so against the military code of ethics. It's baffling.
Yeah, I can get that because my dad's actually a vet. So
yeah,
it's
I'm active duty military.
Oh well, thank you for your service, my friend.
Well, thank you. We all do. We all do what we can to help.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree. It's just like our recent politics, where everything seems to be fueled by outrage. Yes, this last election followed that political trend. It's just one outrage after another.
Yeah. It was fun to watch, though. I will admit, like, oh.
Well, yeah, it was played out like a reality show.
Yeah. Yeah, what did Dave Rubin say? It's like a show of characters you can't make up. The socialist Jew, the ex-president's wife, and the billionaire. Dynasty and Dallas have nothing on this. Oh god.
Yeah, couldn't make it up.
Couldn't make it. This is why it's the best.
Yeah. A lot of people were worried that Trump might be some sort of plant because he was during the election, because he was so perfectly ridiculous.
Not Democrat.
Yeah, like they wanted him. They thought that they set him up as being someone who'd be easy for Hillary to beat. You know.
Yeah. If that was true, that would be the greatest plan by the Democrats ever. That would.
I think that it was not really like the original plan. I think that's just the news thought we're like, okay, let's not pick on the worst candidate on the conservative side or the Republican side, just so we hope that guy wins, because it'll be easier to beat him. Just like we were hoping when Obama and Hillary were going up against each other, that Hillary would win because we thought she'd be easier to beat, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they was actually orchestrated or any kind of actual conspiracy. I just think that the news was like, okay, let's just not pick on Trump until he's the candidate, and then we'll pick on him.
Well, yeah, it's the fact that if they didn't, and they say that she lost because she's a woman, and because
that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah. The reason he won is because you gave him the most coverage. Every time a Trump rally came up, guess who had it on? Fox, CNN, NBC, all these mainstream media sites that have, for some reason, billions of viewers. Mm-hmm. You give him the billions of people seeing his message, seeing what he's about. They don't know Hillary. They don't know. Like, people who are in this sort of political sphere that we're in, we kind of get what she is. We know the history. Mm-hmm. But for the Joe Blow down the street, he doesn't know. He just sees what he sees on television. He sees the candidate saying, I'm fighting for America. I want to make America great again. He can obviously get behind that enough to vote.
Yeah. Everything he said was put on the news. And he would claim he was going to, say, apologize for something and set up a news conference, because he'd say something ridiculous, and then they later have to apologize or retract it. Then when he went to do the retraction, instead of doing a retraction, he would have 10 vets one at a time go up and say positive things about him at the microphone, and then he'd have a speech that was about pro-American stuff, and then at the very end of the speech, where he just trolled the media, he gave like a half-hearted apology. He just got them to play an hour of him, like advertisements for him, because they thought he was going to apologize.
Yeah, it's like
live, it was great. Yeah. He played the media really well.
Yeah, he did. And Hillary didn't do much either. All she did was take selfies with like Beyonce and Jay-Z, and like I don't agree with what Jay-Z did in the past with the crack dealing and shit, but it's like that's not going to get you votes.
No, I don't really think so. Plus, she's not a charismatic person, in my opinion, and she has a pretty dicey past, so it's pretty easy to bring up. I think she was a terrible candidate.
Yeah, there's a reason why for so long that, especially with when Bill was president, there was the joke that she was the nagging bitchy wife and he was the charismatic saxophone player. There's a reason why.
Exactly. But also on top of that, I mean, she was a lawyer and bragged about getting a rapist of a young kid off. Yeah, child molester off. she was bragging about that, and she was supportive of Mr. Clinton, Bill, and his sexual assaults. So I mean, she has a pretty bad past that I know that some people, the younger generation, might not be aware of.
Yeah.
But I'm not that much older than a millennial, so, and I know about it. So they must all, a lot of them must already know about it as well.
Yeah, and I'm a Generation Zer, and I know this stuff, so it's not like it's not there.
So Generation Z. So how old will that make you? About
18.
18. Wow.
I know, it's like it's ridiculous. Some people, it's not my age that people get wrong, it's my ethnicity, because I'm half black, half white.
I would not have guessed that.
Yeah, people think Hispanic.
Yeah, I was totally thinking Hispanic.
I don't.
If it makes you feel better, my wife is actually a Asian Islander, and she gets people think she's Filipina all the time.
Oh no, it doesn't make me mad. I just laugh at it because it's just like I have these big ass lips right here. It's like you think that would automatically assume black guy. My brother gets the worst. My brother gets it the worst, not with race, but with age, because he's a very big guy. He's a very big dude, like over 6 feet. He grows out a beard. I walk to the supermarket with him. There are people that think this kid is 25. He is 15 years old. With his height and a beard, he grows a decade.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was in school.
I'm in college.
Yeah, but when I was in like a high school, I grew out a beard, and I'm a tall, kind of a big guy, right?
Yeah.
And I went to the college office, and I guess the lady at the office didn't, like the front desk, didn't recognize me as a student. And I asked where my friend was by name. And they said, "You know where this person is?" And like, "Oh, no. But if you wait out front, if I see her, I'll tell her that you're out front, okay?" So I wait out front, and my friend walks out super confused and says, "The office lady just told me my dad was waiting out front." And and she looks at me real funny and says, "I'm extremely confused because I have two moms."
Oh, it's
I don't have a dad.
Oh, it's like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's like Ferris Bueller's Day Off when I'm trying to remember the actor's name. When Bueller calls ahead and it's like his girlfriend. Sorry, I love that movie. I do not remember the name to the life of me. He comes out and he's got the car. He's like standing outside like, "Dearie, come here." It's like, that's my dad. It's my dad. And then the weirdest part of that scene is that they start making out. The principal's like, "What the fuck is this?"
That's great.
Yeah. So yeah. That's sort of how I got started as well with the whole getting pissed at the system, because I originally was just gonna do anime reviews for my own personal channel, but then I got hooked into this stuff and it's gonna kill me, but I'm gonna love it. And then I started working for a previous publication that went down because the guy who was running it didn't really know what he was doing. And I'm running this, working at USNN now with a colleague from that previous publication. He's great. He's also a conservative, and also we work with a girl in California who interns for the Daily Wire. So I'm used to working with conservatives, and honestly, like you said, we don't disagree on much.
Yeah,
which I love. And I was in the conservative clubs in high school. Like I joined YAF at my school, and we would just talk. And it was just, I could agree with these people, and just lovely people.
One of the biggest things in my channel that I try to encourage is that I want my my followers, my cubs, to think critically for themselves. So if I say something, of course, I'm trying to be correct. I do my research. I do my due diligence. But if I'm wrong, obviously, I want them to tell me, and I'm not going to be angry at someone for telling me and showing me that I was wrong somehow. Because what's more important to me than being right is knowing the truth. So I present a lot of evidence with what I say in my videos, and I try to do really good research and provide it to my audience. but I also want my audience to be critical thinkers, and I encourage dialogue and conversation in my comments section, and respectful dialogue. Like, don't need to attack someone over having over discussing an idea.
Yeah, I get that. It's like I'm the same way. Like, if you show me the evidence, I am perfectly happy to listen. I don't care if you're a freaking communist. I won't like start bashing your skull in, because that's just not who I am. I want to hear your ideas. I want to get to know your political ideology, so where I can talk to you in a calm manner, maybe argue with you, maybe bring you over to my side.
The only way to refine your own ideas and to know what you truly believe and be able to defend it is to have to challenge your ideas with other ideas. So if you never have your ideas challenged, then you won't really know how to defend it. And you'll end up with like these social justice warriors who they fall apart at even just a little bit of disagreement. If someone says they disagree with them, then oh my God, it's the end of the world. You're Hitler.
Yeah, because they've controlled the public discourse so long, they don't know how to fight. It's like a boxer who's been the champ for so long, who hasn't had any matches, and then goes in for a first round, gets knocked out by this newbie on the block. It's like, and then cries about it. It's like, no, dude, you haven't practiced. You haven't gone out and had a real fight in years. So don't be surprised when you get knocked the shit out. You
ever watch MMA?
No, but I am gonna watch that McGregor. I'm gonna try and get to that McGregor fight on the 26th.
Oh my God. I'm gonna watch that. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, because I work at a Buffalo, a sports bar. So yeah, they've shown it.
Oh, that's cool. So I was at an MMA fight, which was inter-military fight. So there was an Air Force guy, an Army guy, a couple of Army guys, a couple of Marines, some Navy guys. Only one Air Force fighter, which is funny to me. And the Air Force fighter, he very first punch of the very first round got knocked out by an Army guy. Very first punch. They stepped in, the Army guy threw one punch, knocked the guy out cold. They're like, that's hilarious. Air Force don't know how to fight.
They're flying planes. Also, that reminds me of the MASH episode where they like the charity fight for I think it was like a children's home or something, and they had radar getting in the ring. Oh, no, it was I watched a lot of old TV. Yeah, it's a very interesting thing with the military, because it's like you see all this sort of like inside like dissing on each other.
It's all in good fun though.
Obviously.
The Army guys and the Marines love the Air Force when they come in with their planes and provide close air support. And I'm sure the Air Force are very happy that the Army are the ones that are on the ground, getting shot at, not them. The Marines,
the Navy is just like chilling with destroyers. Just
yeah. So they all appreciate each other's and that they all help each other out.
Well, yeah, because this is not sexist thought, but it's mainly dudes fighting in the military. So it's like guy friendships are a lot different from female friendships, in the fact that guys will rag on each other. That's how we build it.
There's been there's a lot more females in certain jobs, like medical. There's a lot more females there. So the way I look at females in the military is the practical view of there's certain jobs where like it's really hard for most females to carry the weight of the armor and all the gear you have to go, and then go for hikes all day, going wrecking through a combat area. And then on top of all that 100 pounds of equipment they got to carry, if they have to carry someone who gets shot who weighs 200 pounds plus a 100-pound pack, can they do that? And generally the answer is no.
Yeah.
So that precludes them from doing a lot of jobs unless they're a very specific body type.
Also, it's the fact that and tell me if you agree with this, the fact that it's a natural instinct of men to protect women. So imagine you get into a firefight and squad's pinned, you have one woman. It is a good chance that the majority of the guys in the squad are going to spend most of the time trying to make sure the woman is safe.
That's possible. It is human nature to defend females. I guess hypothetically, you could, with good training and professionalism, you can make sure people do what their training is, regardless of gender. But I think that the practical needs of body size and muscular mass is more of a strong argument about why it doesn't work very well in combat units.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Speaking of people in the military being there, thoughts on, and I know I didn't include this in the list that we talked about, but thoughts on the transgender ban.
So again, practical view. So when you join the military, you sign a contract that you're going to serve and that your job is to be able to deploy with the military, right? That is what you're signing up to do. Whatever your job is, you're signing up to be a combat force. If you decide to transition while you're in the military, it costs the salary of 3 soldiers to keep you in the military instead of just 1. Plus, you become undeployable. You can't do your job in combat.
Yeah, because then you gotta worry about your hormone replacement, and your immune system is a lot weaker.
Right. Not even counting the time where you're taken out for surgery. Just the pills make it so you can't deploy. So in the military, it doesn't matter what you want. You're supposed to conform to the military. You learn that early on. Whatever you used to do doesn't matter. You need to fit the military, because for the military to work as a machine, all its parts need to work in the same manner. If you cannot provide to the military what it needs, then you should not be in the military. If you are too fat, they kick you out. If you're too dumb, they kick you out. If you're too weak, they kick you out. So and it's not because they hate you, it's because you need to fit what the military requirements are. Now, if you can't deploy and you can't do your job, then you shouldn't be in the military. However, here's my solution. 1 second, sorry.
It's okay.
My solution is, because I'm not opposed to anyone serving, I is opposed to the practical thing of, you can't do the job you shouldn't be in.
Yeah.
If you want to transition, you should do it before or after the military. Or if you must transition during, I would say the military should have a policy where they say you need to leave to get your surgery, but you can come back once you are deployable, if that's possible. Once you are deployable and when you're evaluated by a military doctor, then you can return with your same rank and position.
Yeah, or put them in non-combat related roles like intelligence work or documentation, like just busy workers, because then you're not compromising the squad, but you're also letting them serve their country in a way they may not like, but it's a way to serve.
Yeah, and that would work with our current situation. I think that they still would have the problem of the additional cost to the military. When I've been in units that have been very undermanned, with half the number of people that the unit's supposed to have. So, and this is because we've had a lack of money for people and bullets and machinery. I've had to suffer from the fact that the military has had less money than it needs for a long time. Almost my entire time in the military of 8 years, we've been suffering from a lack of money. So I tried changing jobs in the military, and I was accepted, but then they right before I went to change the job, they took away the job slots because they didn't have enough money to support the people changing to that job. They didn't have enough spots available because of sequestration. So, I think adding an additional expense like that really hurts the military. And I'm really happy with Trump because he's increased the military budgets and is bringing more people back. So now there's where in the last few years, it's been less people doing the work of more people, and it's added a lot of stressors. It's increased suicides because you have people being way overworked. So I appreciate that he's bringing more people in and giving more money so that it'll be less stress on the soldiers we have.
I mean, and it doesn't make sense to you that you take away money from the military, because that's what defends this country. That's how we are able to pay to defend not only us, but our allies. So it's like you are not going to pay for the fence that keeps your crops safe. You're not going to pay for the door to be locked in your home.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense to me either.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
That's one of the things that always I found confusing about the social justice warriors is they use their free speech constantly to attack people for using their free speech. It's like they're trying to take away free speech from other people. They're using it themselves, and they attack the military, which that defends them, that allows them the right to free speech to attack the military. And when I joined the military, I came from a very liberal state.
Yeah.
And one of my friends, when I told him I was joining the military, was like, "Why would you do that?" There's a lot of hatred in the very, very far left for the military. So, and even my friend who was a very, very liberal thought that the military was like all people who wanted to be killers.
Well, yeah, that's just misconception. It's like you said; those are also probably the people, like you said, that were too overweight, too dumb, and just not willing to fight for your country. Like those are just the people that don't have the mindset of, oh, I'm going to selflessly possibly give my life for the will of others, because they're very much like, it's all about me, me, me.
Yeah. I can't imagine a mindset like that. It's frustrating.
Oh yeah, well, I think it's because you and me come from military backgrounds, with me being the son of a vet and you being a soldier. It's a very also I think it's just with conservatives and classical liberals. I think there's a sense of the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Like, I will help if I can, in the way I can. Yeah.
I think that the focus on identity politics has eroded the people's support for their own nation a lot. Like, rather than feeling like they identify with their nation and feeling a kinship with everyone who is in your country or in America, and that you want to support in some way the community of America, they are identifying themselves with much smaller, unimportant groups, like saying, oh, I identify as the most important identity that I have is that I'm Mexican. So I only feel kinship with people who are Mexican. The Mexican Americans are the only ones, are the only community that I feel connected to. And instead of saying all Americans, despite race or background, are on the same team as me. They're like, okay, only this small community where I am at are my team. So they won't do anything to reach out and support or be a part of any larger community.
Yeah. I mean, as the idea of like the race than America thing is stupid to me, because I remember for the longest time, and now apparently it's become politically incorrect to say, but African American was the dumbest thing to me, because like, I was not born in Africa.
Right.
Do I have an African accent? Like the closest thing I have to African is the fact that there's a possibility, a very small possibility, that an ancestor of mine was a slave. And he most likely wasn't. Because the amount of slaves we brought over was an extremely small amount compared to how they talk about it. Like, there are billions of slaves. No, it was like 300,000. The rest were born here, basically, or came over there, or came on through other means.
Yeah, I don't call any black people African Americans. I find that term so stupid.
It's like unless they're from I believe the only people you should call African American are people that were born in or live in Africa.
Oh yeah, like someone who speaks Swahili or something like that. Yeah, someone who's actually from Africa. Okay, that makes sense. But the average black guy in America is not African American. He's just American.
He's black.
He's a darker skin than me. That's all that matters, and that doesn't matter is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's like, but I think that comes also from like the privilege mentality. Like, the reason why that they have this sort of like thing because they're trying to see where they lie on the oppression limits. It's like Muslims, women, blacks, gays. I'm probably getting the scale wrong, but it's like they want to see where they land.
And in the oppression Olympics.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the second we find a black, trans, disabled. That's where I was. I wanted disabled next. Black, Muslim, trans, disabled, gay person. We're going to find the ultimate winner of the oppression Olympics.
Yeah.
Like Tess Holiday wears blackface, loses her legs, and joins Islam. Let's have that.
You know, she didn't have to wear blackface. She'd be transracial. You know.
Rachel Dolezal and Sean King, the two dumbest not white people on earth. Actually, two of the dumbest white people on earth. Because it's like, oh, I don't get why. Oh shit, that's a good blooper. I'm gonna keep that in now. But I don't get this whole transracial thing because it's like I get transgender. I get that. You have gender dysphoria. You believe you were born in the wrong body. You want to cut your dick off. That's perfectly fine. Do what you gotta do. I personally think a lot of them just need therapy. There are some people that should transition, but I think there are a lot more that should just get therapy because it's most likely something else.
Yeah.
But then you got these people that are saying, I'm transracial, I'm trans-ager. Like, no. Unfortunately.
Trans species. I'm actually a wolf.
I'm trans-rolled. I'm an NCR Ranger. So and my pronouns are napalm and bite. Napalm and oorah.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like it's this weird form of they just want to be special. It's like I hate the word special for many reasons. One is the most ridiculous word in English language to me. I prefer to say unique. Like every individual is unique. Not everyone is special. There are very few special people in this world or have ever lived. Very few special. Because also special to me has this weird connotation of like because they used it for like people with mental disabilities, which I find very fucking stupid. Because it's like, and we had this sort of thing in my school where we had like a separate place for the special the mentally disabled kids, the special ed kids. And it's like that's not gonna help. And I kind of wanted to scream out, but I knew I'd probably get skewered for it. That separating them like that is not gonna help them. It's not gonna help them at all with whatever they have going on, whether you like it or not. For people, anyone really, you can't put them in a bubble. I understand what they're trying to do, and I commend them for it, but you can't. You got to throw. Some people use the throw in the shit and help them along the way. In my opinion.
Are you referring to like the special classrooms for people with special needs?
Yeah. Because I don't think those help. I think the teacher assistants that the only part of those I like are the teacher and student assistants because they're the ones that help give that interaction with other people that help them have normal interactions with human beings. But I don't think putting people in little areas where you can't breach is going to help anyone. It's the definition of an echo chamber.
So what I've seen was they'd have in my school they had the students who went to those special classes. They did it for like an hour out of the day, but they spent the rest of the time with the normal class. And that extra hour was set aside for them to cover things that they were having trouble learning. So that because the rest of the class probably already learned this, and they didn't want to cover it again with the entire class. So to give you an example, you could say like a student who was having trouble learning math, so they try a new way of approaching teaching math with this student. Instead of making the entire class learn fractions again, they just taught fractions to that one kid, and then they reintroduced him into class. So he still got all the same social interaction. It just was to help fill in the spots where they were unable to learn something the rest of the class knew. Yeah,
but in my school's case, we had like they were there all day. Like that's not good.
That's not good.
It's like. And when I see the way people talk to them, like I'm not afraid to say that I get uncomfortable around a lot of different people, especially people with mental disabilities, because I just don't know what to say because everyone has different levels of like they'll lose it. So I just don't know what to say to that person or in any type of way that won't have them like upset or anything. I don't like upsetting people except for social justice warriors because it's fun. But
yeah,
and I hear the way people talk to them, and they're very it's very pleasant. They don't mind being around them, and you don't see too many people like actually making fun of them, which I appreciate. But I think that's just I think that's a sort of an unspoken social rule in our society. Like don't make fun of the guy with the Down syndrome. He's
I think it's a spoken rule.
It's unspoken rule. It's like even and if you do, you get the most dirty looks out of anyone. You could have screamed out "nigger, fag," and then you get less dirty looks than you would with that. But it's also just like it's a very odd form of like I don't know how to describe it. It's like what I was saying before, the special mentality.
Yeah,
that's what I got off it. I'm just confused. It's like you want them to be treated. You want them to feel like they're like everyone else. You have to treat them like everyone else. Yes, you can treat them with respect. You can speak to them politely. But the second you put them on a pedestal, they lose that.
Yeah, if you want to talk to someone with mental disability, just treat them like a normal person. You might have to say things a little more simply, like you would say to someone who was new to your language. You know, like my wife is not from America, so when I would say speak to her family or some of her friends, I have to say shorter, simpler sentences, but I still will treat them like a regular person. That I'm not treating them like they're dumb.
Yeah,
and I guess in a similar way is how you should speak to someone who has mental disabilities. Is you just you treat them like a regular person because that's what's best for both you and them for their development.
Because then they learn how to interact, and then if they run into somebody, they know that does just treat them disrespectfully. They can tell it. They can register it, and then through other social interactions, like people helping them out, they can see, oh, someone makes fun of me for this. I saw this person say this, so I should probably say that. Like they can learn to defend themselves for themselves.
Yeah. But don't treat them like they're dumb. Treat them like they're a normal person. Don't try to fit their level of understanding. Try to help them grow to be able to deal with normal people.
Yeah, and also I get that same way with sort of like people with like fit like who have like an arm missing or something like that. But that's less that I'm afraid. It's just that with my eyes see it like there's incongruity and it sort of messes with me a bit for like a quick second, like because it's like I'm used to seeing person 2 arms 2 legs. I see someone missing a leg, I like have to double take for a second. But then it's like
so disability.
Yeah, it's but yeah, it's also just like I was saying before, don't put anyone on a pedestal, otherwise they no longer have your respect and more likely have your pity. And I didn't get that vibe from the people at my school. They just seemed to be like, I think they were trying to do what you're saying. They're trying to give it in simple terms and just be just nice to them.
Yeah. Never treat someone who has like a physical disability, like missing an arm or leg, like they need your sympathy. That doesn't help them at all.
Oh yeah. I mean, but then again, like I said, I just need to do a double take because it's like I said, my brain registers 2 arms 2 legs. I see someone missing a leg. I just need to like, okay, I'm not going crazy. But then I never thought people try to give them sympathy. Like when I see people without legs who use also have like prosthetic legs and they like running marathons, I'm like, what the fuck? This is awesome. It's like,
have you ever had any blind people in your school?
No, not to my knowledge. I mean, blind people don't screw with me as much because I'm just like, oh, they're just wearing glasses. I registered that they're blind.
Yeah. Oh, I had 2 blind students when I was going through school. One of them was a female and one was a male. The female actually had a huge crush on me. It's pretty funny.
Did she know you were a wolf?
Yeah, she had no idea. I wasn't even human.
Oh, like the episode with Brian when he dates a blind girl.
Yeah. But there's a few things you have to get used to when you have someone who's blind, and my entire class was used to it. But basically, if you're walking with one of them, it's normal for them to hold someone's arm, the crook of their arm, because just she both of them would do it with people all the time, anytime you're with them and it's time to leave where you're at, you have to be used to actually going and letting them grab your arm so that they don't have to count steps or try to memorize the exact steps they use to get there, right? It's allows them to get around really easily. As well as when you walk away from someone that you've had a conversation with that's blind, you have to let them know you're leaving.
Yeah.
You don't do that with normal people because you're like, okay, conversation's over, I'm going to walk away. They can see you leaving. Okay, so conversation's over. Well, if you don't tell a blind person that you've left the room, they're going to assume, or they might assume, you're still there and try talking to you.
Yeah. I guess that's also why they have the stick thing, so I can like see if there's like hear any obstructions and all that.
Yeah, but it's so much easier to get around when they have someone that can walk beside them. You know,
or they have like a service animal that can help them get around.
That does too. Yeah, the dog will help them negotiate obstacles.
Yeah. So yeah, take away from that just in case anyone misinterpreted what I said, because I have this out on my sort of like private Twitter. I tweeted this out, and I know there are a few people that can be like, "Oh, Matthew hates disabled people." Yeah, he hates them. I don't. I'm just saying, don't put any, especially disabled people, don't put them on a pedestal because that does not help them at all.
Treat them like normal people.
Yeah.
So, next question.
Oh yeah, thoughts on the moderns, right and left? Because to me, I couldn't agree with what it was. I think this was about a year or two ago. Dave Rubin said, or no, it was an interview with Dave Rubin and Milo Yiannopoulos that it's going from left to right, libertarian, authoritarian.
Okay, so I'm sorry, my headset shifted. What was the original question?
Thoughts on the state of the modern left and right? Because with everything going on, it's really hard to tell.
Okay, well, I think that the vast majority of people are still in the center left or center right. I think that the loudest members of our society that we hear are the ones that are on the fringe. The more militant, the more extreme are the ones we hear from. And so I think that, there's been a lot of people who've been educated on the regressive ideology, and that's one reason why we have a lot of people voting for regressive candidates and policies. But I think that they aren't the radicals necessarily. I think that we can still turn it around. But the biggest thing you need to do to change from the extremes that we are currently facing is education. So one reason why we have so many progressives is that they've controlled the college institutes for a long time, and they've been educating students on social justice. We need to make sure that we get rid of professors that are teaching those radical ideologies and not providing a fair and balanced dialogue. Because I mean, when I went through, you had professors who would punish you, give you bad grades for not fitting the ideology.
That's a piece of power.
Yeah, we need to make sure we're teaching, classical liberalism and conservatism, and not telling people what to think, but giving them all the information, and not just providing them one point of view that's the same through all their classes. So that's one thing. And so once people are armed with information, I think we'll have a less of the protesters that are protesting on based on identity politics.
Yeah.
And then we need to have politicians that are also sharing the message that violence and racism from any side is wrong. We need the government to actually punish people who commit acts of violence like Antifa have. We can't let them just be breaking windows, burning down buildings, attacking people in the streets, and not having them being arrested. There needs to be a strong response to that, because if it was Nazis doing that, they'd be going crazy and it'd be just as wrong. Can you imagine if Nazis or white nationalists had done all the damage that Black Lives Matter and Antifa has done? It would be a
police state. It would be you'd be literally seeing them get gunned down for that. Yeah.
Now the longer you go without responding to the violence, the harder it is for you to stop it, and the more police and military guard are going to be required to stop it in the future. So the longer they go on not responding to it, the more violence we're going to see in the future.
Yeah, and I agree. And I agree that I also think we should teach people about socialism and communism, but in the sense that
teach it all. Teach it all.
Oh yeah, teach it all, because then you can actually debate it.
Yes.
And then you can figure out, oh, this is why communism never worked. This is why socialism never worked. And
that's stuff that they weren't taught in school right now. And what I'm saying is they need to learn all of that, and also learn what America is based on, and why we're different, so people understand where we came from. Because I think that they don't put a lot of focus on that in schools now.
Oh, yeah, but if they do, it's like, oh, we came from a place of slavery and hatred. It's like, no, we came from a place of, we're trying to build this, build a nation. Unfortunately, that comes with some bad parts. And what I say to that is, name me one civilization that was not built that was built without slavery, built without any type of conflict.
There's none.
There's none, because it's an unfortunate side of human nature that when we want to build something like a nation, we often go into those demons of fighting each other, killing one another, enslaving each other.
Yeah, and what's more important is that we're growing morally as a human race, and also as a country, and improving ourselves. We've moved on. We've bettered ourselves. Why should we be punishing ourselves for things we've already tried to and have fixed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's ridiculous, because, and I think that's the point. They don't. The SJWs, they don't want better. They just want everything to be sunshine, rainbows, puppies. They want it to be like a TV show where everything is wrapped up in 30 minutes. It's all clear cut. Unfortunately, no. 90% of things are not in black and white, but they're in a gray area, and you have to look at that to understand it.
What they truly want is equality of results rather than equality of opportunity. And that's the biggest problem, because when you are trying to force equality of results, you no longer have freedom, and you no longer treating people as equals. People are inherently different. They have different skills and abilities. And because of that, people will not have equal results. But as long as everyone had the equal chance in the beginning, all the equality of treatment under the law and equal opportunity in the marketplace, then we have true freedom and true equality.
Yeah. I never understood equality of outcome, because it's like, if everyone's going to get the same, and that's the reason communism doesn't work. If everyone's going to get the same thing at the end of the day, what is the point of working? If say you and me are working in a factory, you're working day and night, getting everything done, and I'm just slacking. We're going to get the same thing at the end of the day. What's the point of you doing anything?
That's a great point. And that's why communist and socialist nations have low productivity per person, per capita. Whereas other countries that are capitalistic have higher productivity per person. So as an example, for America to produce steel, let's say a ton of steel takes the labor over 1 week of 2 people. In China, a ton of steel to be produced would take the labor of 10 people to produce, because they work less hours, less quickly, less efficiently.
Yeah.
And now at an NCO I work with, I was going above and beyond, spending extra hours after work, and he said, "Why are you doing that? Why are you spending more time at work than you have to?" And he's the same rank as me. And I said, he says, they're going to pay us the same. If I leave now and you stay, we get paid the same for the day. And I said, well, how long have you been in the military? And he says, I've been in for 13 years. And I was like, I've been in for less than 8. I'm like, well, we're getting paid the same right now, but I've been working less years than you. I've gained rank quickly because I work hard. That's why I do this. I want to keep gaining rank. I want to get to another pay scale. Yeah, today I'm getting paid the same as you, but if I keep working hard, I'll get a better position.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the reason. It's the reason why militaries have ranks. It's a meritocracy. The harder you work, the better rank you get, the more medals you get, the more money you get. It's
Exactly.
It's the same reason America works so well. Because think about it. Why do you see so many knockoffs of things like when Apple started? Everyone was making Apple knockoffs. They were trying to make a better version of what was already there so they could make more money. It's a constant shell game of how can I make this better? How can I improve this? How can I improve myself to where I can do this?
Yeah. I like a meritocracy because if you're trying to the alternative to that is giving everyone based off of not merit, but say like diversity. And when you hire people based on diversity, then the company is hurt and the people are hurt. Say you want to hire someone because they're black, not because they're how skilled they are at the job. This is an example I'm thinking of is there's some firefighters in California, and there's a school for firefighters somewhere in California, and the best students normally get hired by a local fire department, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the best students happen to be white in this class this year, and they weren't hired. Instead they hired the worst student who happened to be black, just by chance. There's a mix all in the middle there, but they hired the worst student only because he was black, and they were trying to fit their diversity quota. So now you have someone who is less skilled, who's going to be less successful working for the company, right? And then that person who's less skilled has been put into a job that requires more skill, and they're going to suffer. They're not going to be able to do the work as easily, so they're going to suffer in their career because they're not well suited for the job. So it hurts the company and it hurts the person, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you can apply that to a business or sales or any job. If they don't have the right skills for the job, they shouldn't be hired. The race doesn't matter.
Yeah, race is an immutable characteristic. You can't change it, so it doesn't impact your work.
Right.
Same thing with gender. Similar thing with gender and sex, and similar thing with your hair color. Like me having brown hair isn't going to stop me from working just as hard as the guy who has blonde hair.
Oh no, blonde people are stronger, I guess. I'm kidding.
I thought you were to bring up the statistic that's like, oh, 90%
totally kidding.
of blonde. Oh god. Yeah, it's immutable characteristics don't mean shit. And I actually wrote an article about this, especially when it comes to like holidays. Because you have like Black History Month, Latino History Month, or I guess Latinx now.
Yeah, Latinx.
Like I didn't know we had a Mexican X-Man. Is Professor X tanning or something?
I was thinking of like a tissue box.
Oh yeah. It's like that would be a funny superhero in Kleenex. He wipes up everything. He wipes up crime. Okay, so if someone makes that, I want royalties. It's or gay pride. I don't get gay pride. Like I get it. You're proud of the fact that you can be with the person you want to be, but why do you have to shove it in people's faces? Like I remember I think it was during like one of the protests when Trump had just gotten elected, and there was this video of this gay dude, this like I think 6-foot gay dude, twerking in booty shorts. I was like, no, I'm done. If this is what gay is, then I am a homophobe. Yeah,
if you want to be gay, it's totally fine with me. But I think walking through city streets where there's kids out there and wearing almost nothing and like very sexual clothes and carrying sex toys is inappropriate. And a lot of people who are gay and lesbian agree with that. They don't like the gay pride style of LGBT activism either, you know?
Yeah, it's like if you wave a dildo in front of me, I am probably not going to do anything. But say like I can understand like a parent say there are kids out there during one of these marches, and it's like this dude just comes up twerking and waving around a dildo near your kid. I would not be surprised if a parent got up and just whooped his ass. I don't care what size it is. I don't care who he is. He would get his ass whooped by someone, by the mother or the father. Because it's like, no, kids don't, and I don't get the whole and I don't get the whole like pedophile thing that seems to be going with social justice warriors where they were trying to normalize pedophilia for a minute, and then when the Milo thing happened, and then they just stopped. I never understood that pedophilia is not a sexuality. It is a mental disorder that needs to be cleaned by therapy or a 308 round to the head. It's
I think they're still trying to normalize it. There's a lot of articles, Salon, Vox, Washington, Salon. The Wall Street Journal, CNN have all run articles just trying to say that it's a sexuality or something they can't control, and that there's need to be treated like normal people, and that there's nothing wrong with it. But there is something wrong with it. It's very, very damaging to any child who has sexuality forced onto them, and by an adult. It's very, very damaging psychologically and physically.
Yeah.
And it's very disconcerting that there are members of the regressive left who want to make it treated as the same as being gay or lesbian, and for it to be socially acceptable. It's very, very disturbing.
Yeah, when 10 years ago, if you said pedophilia was a sexuality, everyone would look at you like you're a fucking nut job.
And I will fight that to my dying day, because any culture that allows people to harm the weakest and most vulnerable of that society, that society is going to be destroyed.
Oh yeah, it's just not going to have any respect as well, because it's like, when it comes to pedophilia, I think Miles talked about there is a difference. There's hebephilia, which is attraction to people under the age of 18, but have hit puberty, and then there's actual pedophilia, which is people that have not hit puberty yet. But either way, it's wrong. Even in cases like you see all these articles about these like 20-something teachers that have sex with the like 17-year-old student. Mentally, I'm like, okay, he meant, and this is just general idea. Like, there's a joke that if you found out your friend got hooked up with an older woman, you're like, oh yeah, do it. But it's like that can't. Well, I don't think it's on the same level as something like a 5-year-old. It can be a mental. It could be a mental block.
Yeah. So from my research that I did for one of my anti-pedophilia videos, I showed that I believe 80% of your brain is developed by age 15. So before that, the brain is absolutely unable to process the consequences of sex and those relationships. And then after that, there's still some time after age 15 where your brain is not fully developed and your reasoning is not fully developed. So because of that, I agree with the laws that make it in some states it's 16, some states it's 18. That those are the ages of consent, because you don't want children making decisions about having children when they don't really realize the consequences.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, and with that, it's like, when it comes to having sex, and I haven't, so it's you're getting someone with no experience. I hate that.
Great, by the way.
Yeah. Thank you for the heads up. It's like I think this comes from sort of, I guess, the sort of sexual awakening that happened in the 70s. Sex, to me, should be something that is between someone. I don't get one-night stands. I don't. I've thought about it, but it's like, I just don't get it. I think sex is between two people, regardless of man and woman, man, man. People that it's not just a way to get pleasure. It's a way to increase intimacy in a relationship. And I think that's getting harmed by things like this sort of one-night stand thing, the sort of feminism, which like these feminists claim that they love just sleeping with guys just randomly, and just get used to fuck buddies, because it doesn't help you. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help them build anything, or the polygamy or the polygamy movement. This movement where a girl can have 15 different boyfriends. And I look at those guys and I'm like, no, I'm sorry. You cannot build an intimate. You cannot have an intimate relationship with a woman when you know she's getting fucked by 14 other dudes. You can.
Yeah,
You cannot build
I
that.
could not do that. So I mean, yeah, if you have sex with a lot of people all the time and don't put any thought into it, it's not special to you. Then when you have someone that you are trying to get close with and you have sex with them, it's not as special. You're not really building as much of a connection because you already shared that part of you with so many other people. It's no longer special. So yeah, I mean, I'm not saying you should only have sex with one person.
Obviously, but it's like, but it's like, if you're going to, it should be with someone that you were in a relationship with, that you were committed to, because then now you're getting to have sex, but you're also building a level of intimacy with that person that you have with no one else.
Yeah,
and that can be very rewarding.
I think it should be
mental emotion,
and you should be choosy about who you share that part of your life with.
Obviously, that is the one place where I'm okay with being picky. Like, people being picky about that. Like, there's a reason why. There's general objectification when it comes to men and women. There's a reason why women choose the guy with the Rolex and the Ferrari, and he looks like Ryan Reynolds. And there's a reason why guys pick the Sofia Vergara's and the Scarlett Johanssons of the world. There's a reason why.
Yep. There's a lot of I had a lot of girlfriends that were very short relationships because I broke off. Now that was my MO. I would date a lot of girls, but I also broke it off very quickly because I'm picky, extremely picky, and I'm all totally okay about it, not ashamed at all, that I was not going to date a girl for very long if I didn't see a future with that person, because I don't want to waste my time, my money, my emotional effort, and energies towards someone that I knew I would never marry. So I date girls, and as soon as I found something that I knew I couldn't live with, I would respectfully break up with them. Until I found my wife. I'm like, so this is someone that I had checks off all the boxes. This is someone that does nothing that I could not live with, and so this is the person I want to spend my life with. That's who I chose. And that's important, extremely important, that you don't base it all off emotions, but you base it off of your mind as well, because you make the decision to spend the rest of your life with someone, it's a very huge decision that could either destroy you or build you up. You need a partner, someone who complements your life, someone who has the same interest in you, wants to do the same thing, has the same goals in life, and wants to help you get your goals, and you want to help them get their goals. Because if you're working in different directions, you're going to have to tear each other's lives apart.
Yeah. Also, just find someone interesting, because looks are going to fade. You're going to turn 80, and you won't be able to talk to that person.
Well, I married an Asian, so she'll look like she's 20 till she's 80.
Yeah.
On her 80th birthday, she'll look like she's 80 again.
It's like they won the lottery with the youth thing. Them, it's hilarious, because it's like they turn the second they turn 81, it's like turtles.
Yeah, it's just a turn a light switch. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's just, and like I was saying, I don't get like things like that. And I think that is a part of the social justice movement, where they're trying to take and I know I hate the word specialist, but the uniqueness of human interaction, especially with relationships. Because like I said, there are these feminists that will go out in the world, fuck hundreds of guys, and just act like it's no big deal. Like, no, it is a big deal. People, and whether you like it or not, people are going to judge you for it. Not only people just in general life, but a person you might want to settle down with, like you were saying. They're going to see, do you check off all the boxes? I really get, most guys are probably not going to have a box that be okay with a box that says has had sex with enough dicks to fill the Super Bowl. like that's just not gonna. If you do find that person, he's extremely understanding. But and the same thing with guys. Same thing for women. They generally don't want a guy that's had every woman in the world. Because I think that comes from the fact that, like you were saying, it's a check all the boxes, and when you're with that person, you feel like you're on top of the world, because you're one of the few people that they chose to be with, and you're the only person that they're staying with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes it more special.
Yeah.
The word special. How much time? First, how much more time do we have on the interview? And also, what's your next question?
We can go as far as I don't have to be out of here till 1. So, and I'm willing to go as long as you are. And the next question is opinion on the condition of the mainstream media and how we could possibly fix it, either from the alternative media side or from within the mainstream.
We got this weird system built up right now where they are becoming more and more isolated into their their echo chamber, because they've already scared away all the center left, center right people from watching their content, right?
Yeah.
I don't watch CNN because I know that they're liars and they don't represent any kind of message I want to hear. They're not fair in their messaging. They'll just report the news. They tell me, they try to feed me their regressive ideology. So because of that, they've scared away all this, their audience, and the only audience they have left are the very far left progressives. So they have more incentive to keep producing more far left content because that's their only audience. They've already destroyed their reputation. So honestly, I don't know if there's a way to repair those companies without new management or a new company to replace them. So I don't think we can fix, say, CNN. But if CNN were to be bought up by another company and basically change the name, change the ownership, then they'd have a new reputation to start with.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this, the problem with mainstream media came when money got involved. Like, money was already involved, but when it became a mainstay of the business.
Well, yeah, because you have politicians that are supporting them, and then they support politicians, and now there's this monetary relationship between politics and the news has corrupted the news.
Yeah, and I think that started with Ted Turner. Like, I don't hate him, I don't love him, but when he made CNN and he made it 24 hours, not only did it make it so people could buy him out because they want their coverage, they can get it 24 hours straight. But I also think because it oversaturated it. Because, like, think about it, back in the day, back before you and I were born, people like Walter Cronkite. Walter Cronkite was the most trusted man in America. One of the most trusted men in America for a very long time. The news was respected and trusted. And when the news came on with, like, breaking news, you went to the TV to figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
But now with 24 hours, anytime you see breaking news on CNN, NBC, ABC, all these corporations, you roll your eyes because it's like, what's breaking about it? You play that every 2 minutes.
Yeah. It's not. I think that the oversaturation of the news is a problem. I'm not sure that most people even watch those news agencies anymore, though. The average people, they've been going towards alternative news, like going to YouTube or going to alternative news sites. And those are becoming the new, more trusted news, because people prefer to see, like, when they want to see the Charlottesville riots, they want to see from an average person shooting with their own phone camera what's actually going on, rather than the sterilized view from a news network.
Because then they can feel like, oh, this is an actual riot, rather than looks like you could have filmed that on a film set and it could look the same.
Yeah, there's so much distrust of government and the mainstream news that people want to hear it straight from the source, unfiltered. And it's kind of also like the reason why people like they like reality television, because it seems more, it's not real.
It's the raw, it's the drama of it.
Exactly. So I think that's just the direction our society is going as far as news consumption. I think that we could have news agencies take advantage of that by changing the way that they produce their news, and they can fit, the same kind of tropes. I think that when they send out man on the street interviews and live coverage, where they just do it like an average person covering a riot or something like that, I think that news is far more well received than the sterile, in office coverage.
Yeah, because you have less time to throw your bias out there rather than actually report what's happening.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Anyways, one of my cubs in the background is crying, and I'm gonna have to go take care of that. I apologize.
It's fine.
So this will be I have to leave the interview, as I'm saying. I hope that was enough content for you.
Oh yeah, and plus we can come back next week, maybe 2 weeks from now, and continue this with like a part 2, if you'd like.
Okay, cool. Sounds good to me.
All right.
Just whenever you want to talk about some subjects, just send me an email, and we'll discuss times and dates. It was nice talking with you, man. I very much appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, you too. Also, yeah, the reason I say 2 weeks from now because I think I have Sinatra Says coming in on the 30th. So
he's a good guy.
Yeah.
I still need to do a collaboration with him some point. I've been very busy.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your time, man. This has been the Echelon Files with Direwolf Part 1. There will be a Part 2. When we schedule it, we will put it out a lot earlier than I did today because I literally put it out like 10 minutes before we started. And I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much.
All right.
You have a good day.
We are done.
Direwolf out.
Yeah.